Hello everybody, this is a video of the transformation of my S13. I know a lot of people do them in 10 minutes. I tried and we've just done that much to this car, it's impossible to get it down to 10 minutes. It's about 20 minutes. I've been building this car for about 8 or 9 months now. I've never had anything like this car before. So if you are new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy this journey, and if you're a regular subscriber, then I'm pretty sure this will just be a nice video to look back on all the fun and definitely stressful times we've had. So the best way to start this, I suppose, would be from the beginning.
This is the first day we picked up the S13 200sx. It was on Facebook, but it had a head gasket issue, and that was it. Half the engine was like stripped apart, and I had no proof of it running, never seen it running, never heard it running. Just look at the state of it, it was absolutely battered. So I bought it for a price which was fair for how they're going at the minute. And that was it was a fair price even if the engine was blown. So here's the first day I got it back to mine. Here's how the engine came. Half the engine's missing, the time belt's all over the place, like none of the cam gears there, none of the water pump stuff's there. Just it's basically in absolute bits. So yeah, the guy said that the head just needed a head gasket, and he had a head gasket kit. So at this point, I was quite sure I could have had it up and running by the weekend and on a drift day, but boy, was I wrong. So I'm just starting to strip the head down here and take the cams off just so I can get to the head gasket. At this point, I'm still quite confident. I'm still thinking, oh, I can have this done in a day.
Should just pull straight out. So we haven't too, but they got a little bit of wear, a little bit of heat.
So here I am just about to pull the head off. I actually got the head off in like an hour or so. It was actually really easy. There was lots of lines, but straight away did I know something was wrong.
Got all the water in that as well.
There was just oil and water everywhere. And when I took the head off and you looked in cylinder number 4, you can see all the damage there from something. That's on cylinder number 4 at the back of the engine. So that's on the head. And look at the damage it's done to the piston itself and to the bore. All the bore is just scratched all the way around, and the piston is just absolutely ruined. Look at that. So my diagnosis here was a bit of a spark plug dropped in the piston. So at that point I needed to get the engine out regardless, so me and my friend Will came down, he brought his crane, and yeah, we just lifted the engine and the box out on the driveway. I didn't know what I was doing at this point. I didn't know if I was going to keep this engine or just drop a second-hand CA in there, or I'll just do something crazy. At this point, I think my head was just leaning towards just getting a second-hand CA 18. But that changed after I could not find one anywhere for sale. At this point, we sent the engine off to Rusty, and we decided just to fully forge it. Was looking at the prices of RBs and the price of SRs, and they've gone absolutely through the roof. I even contemplated doing a V8 swap, but I thought at the time that would take a lot longer than just forging the CA, but I probably would have been quicker and cheaper just putting a V8 in there, to be fair. But I'd just come from 2 V8, had a V8 M3 and a V8 C63, so I wanted some turbo noises. RBs were crazy money, SRs were crazy money, and the conversation that we had with Rusty is that if we buy a second-hand SR and a second-hand RB, I could have the exact same issue. Something could just be blown up inside, and you know, it's never the best buying second-hand. So we went to Rusty Autos, absolute legends. They've been incredible through this journey, absolutely incredible. And yeah, we fully built the CA. Not many people do it. We thought it'd be different, it'd be cool, and we quickly learned why people don't do it that often. The parts were impossible to find. It took us 3 months to source the parts, but that minimum, an absolute minimum, 3 months to source all the parts. We had to get the pistons from America. We went with some Supertech pistons. We got some ZRP rods, and we bored out the block to 84mm. Basically just fully built the engine. So the bottom end now is capable of 800 horsepower. And we didn't port the head or anything like that, because I knew I wasn't going with crazy power. The power I knew I would never really be going anything over like 450, 500 horsepower. So we built it to run it safely at that. Got an OEM timing belt kit. We did the valve stem seals. We got an OEM water pump. We got the ARP head studs. We actually got King's bearings. For the rod bearings and main bearings. We actually got King's bearings for those, and we got ZRP rods. It was an absolute nightmare trying to source everything, honestly. All the main 3 piston manufacturers, you know, Wiseco, etc. They were just out of stock and they weren't making them for months. So we found one place. A huge shout out to Cirque Motorsport, who are based in London. They managed to source a set of 84mm Supertech pistons from America, and God, we would have been really stuck without those. But yeah, there's the engine. It looks beautiful. Rusty Auto's painted everything, and oh, it looks amazing. So yeah, while the engine was being built there, I started cracking on some stuff at home and just started to making the car look a little bit nicer. So we started to find some to source some body kits and stuff. I got most of these stuff second hand because I knew I was going to be painting the car. I did buy this bumper, but I didn't really like it. I got it quite cheap and I sold it for the same price, but after putting it on the car, I just didn't really like that look. I knew I wanted to go with the different front bumper. So while the engine was out, I thought it'd be an amazing time to clean up the engine bay for two reasons. One, to make it look pretty, and two, just to make sure there wasn't any hidden rust anywhere, and if there was, basically clean it up and get it fixed while the engine's out. So yeah, we did find some little bits of surface rust, so I got the drill out and grinded it all down. Luckily, there was nowhere that was like went through as a hole. There was bits that was obviously starting to eat away at the metal, and I cleaned it off and put some rust converter on there all over the engine bay, and yeah, we painted it. I really wish I went with a really glossy black. I went with a satin black because I thought it would offset, you know, the colour of the engine, because the colour of the engine is very shiny and glossy. So I thought it would stand the engine out a little bit more, but I really wish I just went gloss black, because when it's got a little bit of dirt on the engine bay now, it just looks old again, being not glossy. So I really wish I went gloss black. But this was a really annoying job, and I did not enjoy doing this. So now we started to pick some some body kit stuff up. So these are some W19 side skirts. I always wanted to go a big drifty look, and I actually found this genuine BM bumper online. I got it for 30 quid because obviously it's been drift ruined, but it was a genuine BM bumper, and I thought, why not? If I can fit it, I can fix it, get it fixed. If not, it's a genuine bumper. Obviously I have to do a little bit of cutting down to get them to fit. Obviously it's fiberglass, but nothing too crazy, and they actually fit quite good, to be fair, for an aftermarket fiberglass. The genuine front bumper fits amazing. But there's the engine, not fully completed yet with the sump off, but this was the point I was like, we've done well to get this far, and I was getting really excited at this point, honestly. And so these are the AN10 lines. If you know much about the CAs, they suffer from oil starvation, and they don't have a very good return from the head. So we had some fittings pressed into the head, and just two AN10 lines which go back into the sump. Recommended from the people who forged these engines. They said don't forge this engine without doing that. These engines only hold like 3 litres of oil, and the sump is huge, so I'm not surprised. But this is the first time dropping the engine in. We were absolutely buzzing. Honestly, I felt amazing. And yeah, the first crank. That is the first crank. Oh my God, man, I'm myself.
You ready?
No. Oh man, I'm so nervous. It sounds so good.
It's got compression.
I was absolutely buzzing at this point. As you could tell, like, I've never even heard this car turn over. So this was about 5 or 6 months down the line. So we did have troubles starting the car. It was cranking, but it just wouldn't fire. Through igniters, ECUs, checked the timing. We went through absolutely everything, and we found out what it was in the end. Was that you have these 2 half moons on the end of the cam angle sensor and the cam. So that's the cam, and see there's a little half moon in there. They touch, and that tells the cam angle sensor where the cam's at. And our cam, it didn't have the half moon, so I had to go. But they sourced the cam, fitted it. And they said to me they would send me a video of if it works or not, and here is that video.
We haven't. We're going to show you. Tune it.
It's started.
And see if you recognise it. Jack, just show them the noise.
It's a... Yes!
baby!
Oh my God!
Jack, wait, you getting out of the car, yeah? She's on! So we left the belt off of the power steering just because it'd be noisy because it's not bled up, but I think we want to from here. Okay.
Oh, it sounds so healthy.
Oh, Lee, there you go.
I thought it was going to be so rough. Revolution.
She sounds good. She sounds good.
So here we go, first drive. I can't. Oh, don't know what that is. Woo! I think it's the bolts down here. We're driving, boys! We're on the road!
So the next thing I wanted to do was a 5-stud conversion. I wanted to go 5-stud mainly for the wheels and the brakes. So I managed to find some S14 calipers, which were seized, like really bad seized. So I managed to get them for cheap. And I've rebuilt calipers quite a lot in my life, so I thought I'd get them really cheap. Get a new rebuild kit off eBay for like 30-40 quid for the whole kit. And yeah, I thought we'd just rebuild these S14 calipers. And they came out quite nice. I could have done a better job, but I just wanted the car running, you know. I did have a bit of rust in the rear arch, and I wanted to get that sorted out before the car was being painted, and I sent it off to a rust repair guy, and obviously he found a lot more that needed doing. So we got all the rust done. There was a couple of sills that needed doing, and a little bit in the boot floor, and a little bit around the arches. But structural wise, it was great. There actually wasn't anything on it structural wise. So now we just need to finish off the body kit. So I actually ordered a BN replica bumper. This is from Kit, so a company are based in Poland. That was a really good fit for a fiberglass part. So it's slowly coming together, and I'm getting happy now. So again, just continue with the 5-stud conversion. So I've got S14 hubs, and yeah, the fronts are quite easy. They just come with the wheel bearing attached. So you just change the hub, and then you've got an S14 hub with the wheel bearing. So I got a load of different parts there just to make sure I was getting the right hubs and stuff. I did put the brake disc on the wrong way round, but I do fit that. So that's my S14 hub with my new S14 disc and my S14 calipers, which I rebuilt as well. That's the old S13 one. I think it's a single piston, so it's weak. and the S14s are obviously 4-pots. So I did want to do that upgrade knowing I was going drifting and stuff. Here we actually got some new wheels I actually got them really cheap off Facebook. Again, I knew I was painting them, so I managed to pick up some JR11s that they're called, and they actually fit really well with some big spacers. But what I've noticed that the ball joints on the S14s are different than the S13, so it weren't sitting correctly in my hub. So I got a set of S14 arms, and they're actually wider as well. So they've got the correct size ball joints and wider, so it's going to give me a lot more camber. So here was the first time me dropping the car with these S14 arms. Yeah, it was a really good fit. Oh, that's me falling over. And this is me trying to do the rear 5-stud conversion. That was one of the worst things I've ever done in my entire life to a car. It was, I did it the long way round. I just got the S14 wheel bearing, and I should have just got the S14 subframe. But yes, so since now the front was so wide with the S14 conversion, I had to get some extended tie rods and track rods. Yes, this is me just changing the S14 wheel bearing, which was a nightmare, absolute nightmare of a job, and even more difficult trying to get the S14 handbrakes to fit to them, because the handbrakes in the S14 hubs are external and the 13s are internal. So trying to do that conversion was really tough, which is why the grinder came out here. But yeah, in the future I would either just get an S14 subframe or get the whole S14 hub as well. Don't just get the wheel bearings. It's cheaper the way that I did it, but trust me, it's not worth it. Right, there's me being crazily annoyed at doing this. I would never do that again on that car, trust me. But yeah, it's pretty much driving now. We've got the wheels on, and we're going to paint it. So we went down to my good friend Kuba's, and we started prepping the car outside his. Obviously I had a lot of welding done on the rear arch and stuff, so we needed to fill that to make that smooth, and we just went over the whole car, and just any flat bits or little dents, we just filled them and covered them in. Yeah. So then we went down to his unit, and we just wanted to prime over all the bits that he had fillered, just so it would make it a lot easier when we came to paint it a few days later. We actually bought a new boot lid as well. So the boot lid that I had had rust holes in it. It had a big spoiler on at some point, but I found this one with a ducktail molded in, and I'm glad I did it because the other one was leaking water as well. There is the BM bumper. We actually sent it off to a local company to fix, and they did that for like 200 quid. They did an amazing job, really good, amazing job. It was MSM Fibreglass in Basildon. They did an unreal job repairing that bumper. I just put that bumper on, and I actually went to just get a quick alignment on the car. Everything had been changed, and it was horrendous to drive. So I just kind of wanted it to drive straight. So I knew I'd be driving it back and forward to the paint shop, etc. And from now on, it was a driving car as well. So prior to this point, it was kind of mostly getting trailered, so I wanted it to drive somewhat straight. See, you could see how red it was there. And it's the day for painting. I was so excited for this day. We took 2 days. On the first day we did the wheels and the body kit, and the second day we did the car. So this was the first time I actually got to see the colour on the body parts. The colour we went with was actually a Porsche colour, and it's called Ruby Stone Red, and you will see that in a minute. But yeah, it was a questionable colour for the car, so I wanted an aggressive wheel, so I just went black on the wheels. But we do change them at the end of the video. So it's the next day, and we're just prepping the car, taking everything off, getting the bolts off, and giving it one last sand, one last clean, ready to be painted. Yeah, oh my god! So it looked unbelievable. The day we painted it, Kuba is great at what he does, and oh my god, it looked unbelievable. You can just see how glossy the car is. I was so paranoid about taking this. I thought, I'm so clumsy, I'm definitely going to scratch something. And at that point I was like, oh my god, it's an actual car, and the colours just went together so well, and that's how it came out. So that's a Porsche Ruby Stone Red with all the body kit on, with the wheels. I was so buzzing about this. It looked on. I genuinely couldn't believe how good it looked, and I gave Kuba a massive hug after this.
Right, we've just put the kit on. We've just been rushing to put the kit on before it oh my god, before it got dark.
Now you think that would be the end of the video, but it's definitely not. Definitely not. It's never going to end this car. But we were taking the gearbox off, so I bought a paddle clutch from XO Racing. Thank you to them for supplying that clutch. And I actually got some ARP flywheel bolts, because we were taking the flywheel off quite a lot because we kept dealing with an oil leak. We had an oil leak from the sump, so this is why I was coming back today. We were going to see, well, the sump where it meets the engine, there was a leak there. And I bought a second-hand gearbox as well, because my gearbox was whining in 5th gear. Here's also underneath the car for the 1 millionth time taking this bloody gearbox off. I feel like I know where every bolt is and how many extensions to use now. I've done it so many times. So this is where it's leaking from. If you can see the crank seal, just underneath the crank seal, where the crank seal meets the sump, that's where it kept leaking from. So we took this time to take that off, take the crank seal off, do all that. And I've heard that if you buy this sleeve, it creates a better seal. Worst thing I've ever done. We put this sleeve over the top of the crank, so apparently the crank gets worn. And well, you'll see later on in the video. But there's the clutch, there's the paddle clutch, and there's the bolts for the pressure plate. We think we fixed it. We seal it all up, and I get home and I look under the car, and it's leaking oil even worse from the same place. And this was probably the lowest I've felt in a very long time. After doing all that work and it's still leaking oil even worse, it was terrible. So at this point, I was like, right, well, let's just take the car off the road for the week. Let's just relax, just not worry about it, and just get some of the other jobs done. So I decided to take the subframe off because it was knocking like hell from the rear end, and that's why the bushes were ruined. Someone put a piece of truck rubber by the looks of it, and the other one fell off, so that side was just knocking against the top of the car, and it was making a horrendous noise. So I decided to just do the bushes myself outside. Actually, it wasn't that bad of a job. This is the first time I've ever done that, and I just drill out the rubber and then just get a hammer and a big screwdriver, and it takes a couple of hours, a few hours, but yeah, it's not the end of the world. An air hammer would be good for this, I suppose, but I honestly managed to get it off, and I was quite surprised at how easy it was, to be fair. Its strength, like it is doing now. So let me try and get the grips on this. There we go. So we got some new bushes from Powerflex. Huge thank you to them. Some new rear subframe bushes, and yeah, just pop them in. So here we go. We're back at Rusty's, and we need to sort out the oil leak. So we're taking the engine out just so we can see everything. And as you can see here, it's actually you can actually see it leaking through that sleeve. It pried off so easily when it shouldn't. So we stripped everything down. I bought all genuine new gaskets. I even bought genuine Nissan sealant, and we just redid everything, even more to the book than we did initially. We were pretty sure it was coming from that crank sleeve. It was coming from the sump initially, but we fixed that when we put that crank sleeve on for future proof. That made it leak through that. And it was also coming from a gasket from the back of the crank seal housing as well, a paper gasket. So we sat the paper gasket off, and we just used the genuine Nissan sealant. You can see they're the genuine half moons which Nissan supply, and we just did a nice we sealed the sump as well. And this was us checking if it was leaking. A big day, and it wasn't.
Yes, yes,
It's dry, everybody.
Yeah, we got it back and started driving and started doing a few more things. We've just had to rebuild the rear calipers. I've installed the R8 cold packs because we are going big power very shortly, so the cold packs in the car are not up to the job. So we put some R8 cold packs in and a VW wiring loom conversion, and there's us starting the car.
We got spark. Oh yeah.
And the latest video we've been doing is fitting some massive 19-inch. I didn't really like the way that the 17 sat in the arch. I felt like there was just way more. You could get way bigger wheels in there. Now I'm also over an 18s, but I thought I'd go crazy and get these 19 370Z wheels on there. With a lot of hammering, we did get them to fit.
And here is how the S13 is sitting right now. I've just walked outside. Can we get a nice little video of her? We have got lots more things to do with her, but for the transformation she's come from, it's seriously amazing. I'm not gonna lie. And watching this video back and editing this video made me feel quite proud of myself. Next things we're gonna do are we need to space out the rear back wheels. Considering how big the fronts are, we need the rear ones to be spaced, but they're on the way. We need to get the wheels refurbed as well. The next thing we're going to be going bigger power. We're halfway there. We've got the R8 cold packs, we've got the ECU inside. We just need to get injectors and get a turbo built, and then we can start going like 350, maybe 400 horsepower. But we've still got a long way to go with this car. We've still not took it on a drift day. Still need to get the bucket seats in. Still got loads left to do. So if you do like the car, you like where it's come from and how far she has come, subscribe, because we're going to be seeing lots of more stuff to this car, and we badly need some bucket seats. So yeah, here she is. I'm quite proud of her. She's a good girl. We have got some battle scars since driving her. We've got a few cracks on the boot lid and we've got a few cracks in the fiberglass stuff, but I knew it was going to get like this. So thanks for watching, everyone. I love you all, and yeah, hopefully see you in the next one.